my steps? If I have walked with vanity, if my foot hath hasted to deceit, let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may know mine integrity. If my steps have turned out of the way, and my heart walked after mine eyes, and if any blot hath cleaved in my hands, then let me sow, and let me another eat. Yea, let my offspring be rooted out. If mine heart have given deceived by a woman, or if I have laid wait at my neighbor's door, then let my wife grind upon another, and let others bow down upon her. For this is an henosis crime, yea, is the iniquity to be punished by the judges. For it is a fire that consumeth to destruction, and would root out all mine increases. If my steps have got off, if I've really got off course, and I've got off those things, then I'm going to have total destruction. Things is going to be bad. He keeps telling his friends, I ain't got off God's course, even though they're telling him, you must have sinned somewhere, Job. You must have done something wrong. But how many times does he keep talking about, I'm on the right path, I'm doing the right thing, I know I am. And he had to I think he had to tell himself that. Because, we have power of life and death in the tongue. And if we're not on the right path, we better be getting on it. And then if we are on the right path, we better be saying, I know I'm on the right path, especially in the midst of problems. Because 3 times Job talked about it. And I've done found right here, and I ain't really searched it out in depth. I bet she's talked about it more. The importance of being on the right path and knowing that you're on the right path and saying, God knows I'm on the right path. Knows that I'm doing everything that I know to do. I'm on the right course. I know I am, because if I'm not, I'm going to end up with destruction. I'm going to end up with problems. I'm going to end up with situations. I'm going to end up with things that's going to destroy me. I'm going to end up with things that's going to take me out. I'm going to end up with things that I don't want if I get off course. If I get off the steps. If my steps are not following what God wants, then great, terrible things are going to happen to me. Worse than what's going on right now is what Job said. I know I'm on course. And you ain't going to get no tougher place than what this man has been. You're not. But are we on it? Can we really say with confidence beyond a shadow of a doubt, well, if we can, we better be speaking it. And be telling the enemy, shut up, I know I'm on the right course. Because you can hear a verbal attack with Satan with these 3 friends against Job. Satan convincing him 3 friends. Because how does the enemy? He uses people. He'll use your mind to say things, to do things. And he's using these 3 people to attack Job. You can listen to Satan's using these men to attack Job. You can hear a warfare going on right here. You can read the warfare going back and forth. But Job's response was constantly, I'm on the right path. Shut up. I'm on the right path. You ain't going to convince me I'm wrong. You ain't going to convince me I sinned, because I have not sinned. I am on the right path. I'm following exactly what God wants. I don't know what He's doing. Because he even questioned God, because God came back at the end and said, I'm going to demand an answer from you for questioning me. I'm going to demand you to answer me, Job. I know you didn't sin. I know you didn't do nothing wrong. And at the end, God was really going to hammer them 3 guys for being so mean to Job. But thank God Job said, Lord, have mercy. Have mercy on them. But like you hear a war going on. If you read Job, you'll see a war going on. You can read it verbally for verbally, and is it not what goes on in our mind? Is it not how people are used against us and how they tell us things and situations, trying to turn our path? And they were trying to turn Job and admit that he had sinned and he needed to make it right with God, and he better get things right with God because he's bloated or he wouldn't be in this position. He wouldn't be in these problems and these circumstances that's unfolded in his life. But thank God that he talked about that. You want to know the answer to problem situation? Make sure you're on the right path. As we said, how do you know? The Word. It'll be a light onto your path. You'll know if you're in the right course. You'll know if you're following the right things. And then you're going to find the promise. You'll know if you're following the right vein. You'll know if you're following the right things. That's how you'll know. Proverbs 21:26. The Word says this. He coveteth greedily all the day long, but the righteous giveth and spareth not. The Lord, He giveth all the things all the day long to everybody, the things that we need. But man is trying to seek for the things that he thinks he needs. If we are off the path, then we are trying to find the answers. We go by what we see, and Job even forewarned to this in his writings. Don't go by what you see and what's going on to try to guide your path. You better go by faith. We walk by faith and not by sight. We do not let situations and circumstances turn our path when we know that God has got us going in the right direction. We do not get off, because you want to know, if I wanted to go by circumstances, I'd say this church wasn't going to make it when it was going through the storms it was going through and it went down to the situation. If I'd have went by circumstances I saw, I'd even still say the enemy could bring to me saying this vision ain't going to come true. But he's not going to convince me of it, because I'm going to speak life to it like Job said. I'm not going to covet in things and say, well, we need to run and get out of here. We need to go and just go somewhere else and start all over and do this. No, this is the place where it begins, and God will take it where He wants to go. But how many of our situations in our life are we coveting, looking, and searching for something, and for an answer, when God is saying, quit looking and just do what I told you to do. Just go where I told you to go. You're going to get yourself more confused and more complicated than you ever have. And you just don't know how many ministries that I know of where men and women have done things to try to help God in His plan. They've tried to help Him. Oh, well, this is what we need to do. Let's push in here and do this. Let's go over here. Let's do this. When all they got to do is be patient and wait on God. If you need money, He's got it all. You'll get it. If you need money to build a building, you ain't going to have to. He'll get it for you. He'll just show us the design, and it may be work involved in it or whatever. Or He may just bring one big lump of money, a suitcase full of money, and say, here's enough. It'll be exact amount to do the job you need. But He's never failed in whatever He's going to do. But if we begin to panic in the situation and begin to covet things and push for that way and say, this is what we really need to push over here because the situation, circumstance looks desperate, then you're going to get off path. It ain't going to get much more desperate than what Job was. But Job forewarned, saying, don't get off, don't get off, don't get off. Stay on course. This is what made me win. Read it about what he said. But I don't know. I can tell you 3 times that I know for sure he's talking about the importance of staying on the right path. Is the only chance you got to defeat the enemy. The only chance you got to get through tough times and tough situations. You better stay on course. You better not let the situations that happen before you turn you. You don't let circumstance, you don't let situation, you don't let people, you don't let nothing turn you when you know that God has got you on the right course. Because the Lord even told me along the way, when it comes to the end and it looks like it is not going to unfold, you're going to be ready to walk away. But if you'll hold on with faith and press through, it'll happen. And there was a point that I was thinking it ain't going to work. There was so many attacks coming from so many angles. I was like, my wife was having a hard time. I was like, let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just get out of this mess. Let's just go. But then you look over and you see people that you helped, and that began to encourage me to say, I can't go. And then the Lord brought it to my mind saying, remember what I told you. Then I just said, you warned me. And I about fell victim, about caught in the spider's web. Why? I was paying attention to circumstance. I was paying attention to the situation, and the web about got me. It about got me caught, and if I'd have followed it, it would have sucked the life out of me. If I would have left and went where God didn't want me to go,